heard back from a job interview that I thought I nailed. Guess what? Didn't get the job. What the flying fuck? I was like more than qualified, had the experience, have the degree. The universe just wants me to be a TikToker. Like, honestly, why doesn't the universe want me to work?
Riddle me this. So you're telling me that I can convince hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people on this here internet to listen to me babble. Babble. Half of the time about nothing. Nothing. But I can't convince a job to hire me for a role that I am clearly qualified for? So I can convince hundreds of thousands of people to clock in and watch me babble for minutes on end, but I can't convince one job to hire me for a job that I'm qualified for. Okay. I need whoever is playing the game of my life to stop
That's the
dicking
problem.
around. It's enough. I don't know what kind of witchcraftery that's occurring right now, but I need you to stop. Because I'm no longer laughing, and this is no longer funny. Because I can convince hundreds of thousands of people on here to listen to me babble every single day, but I can't convince a job to hire me for a role that I'm clearly freaking qualified for? Clearly qualified for?
See?
Okay.
Hiring rate.
Listen, I want to first state that I'm not discounting. Maybe a year ago I would have and just said, oh, it's you, you're not taking initiative. But I understand there's a lot of layoffs happening. I think Disney just had some layoffs or is about to have some upcoming layoffs. There's a lot of layoffs happening. You got AI, you got automation. Absolutely. The market of the pool of candidates is becoming very saturated, and that adds increased competition. And that's the thing that I want to focus on, competition. Because in the first two examples, what both these ladies basically said is, oh, I'm qualified. I've got all the qualifications. And then that last one we just watched, she even mentioned something like, whoever's orchestrating and pulling the strings of my life, like the puppeteer, basically, why aren't you doing this, but I can do that? And that's the problem, because you have to take your life into your own hands. There's nobody puppeteering your life. It's really just going to come down to what you can convey and what you can convince. Because what I'm noticing is that a lot of people, especially younger people, they try to lean on they're qualified. They've got this degree. They've got this resume. Well, guess what? It has to line up when you actually sit in front of somebody as well. It has to line up. And you have to compete. And you have to go in with the mindset that you're trying to match up with all your qualifications in person. Because that is a big dissonance that a lot of people haven't correlated yet. You can have all the executive things on your resume as you want to have. But if you don't have the executive presence to match, then you can get outcompeted. And see, that's what I do. Oh yeah, come in there thinking that just your qualifications, you could be more qualified than me. But guess what? If they talk to me, oh, everything's off the table because I believe in myself. And I know that I'm going to show up and I'm going to give everything I got at that moment. I'm resourceful. And whatever's on my utility belt, it's finna get used. And I don't know if a lot of people are going into it with that mentality or if they're just trying to rely on their qualifications and their past achievements. Y'all, before we get back into it, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second and actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype.
Is the worst since the COVID pandemic. February 2026 had the worst hiring rate since the COVID pandemic. February 2026. March 2026 will be worse. Every month will be worse. We are in a stagnant job market. People are not hiring. They are not creating jobs, and we have more people unemployed than jobs available. Warning, warning, warning. We are in an economic crisis. Our economy is collapsing every single day. If you found this post sad but informative, please like, comment, follow, and share for more economic news.
Guys, the job market is so bad that I could, in fact, go pursue that music career my parents told me not to in high school because it wasn't going to be financially stable. Because what's the worst that could happen? I end up unemployed? Bitch, I'm unemployed now. I've got a STEM degree. Actually, I've got 2 STEM degrees. And 1 in Spanish, technically. Just for fun. I'm still fucking unemployed. May as well go do the music thing and see how it works out at this point. I don't know.
Every time I get rejected for a job, just got rejected this morning, I tell Jeremy, maybe this is the universe telling me that I'm not meant to work. Maybe I need to take time off and just focus on like creating content and
See?
working on my Substack. Like maybe I'm not getting a job because I'm not meant to. And then he says, yeah, I don't think that's it.
You know what's crazy? I actually came into this video with the intention of giving people a lot of slack because I know the environment that we're in right now. And I know that absolutely organizations are trying to downsize and there is just a lot of saturation in the talent pool right now. So I literally came into this video saying, I am going to give slack. I am actually majority probably going to be on their side, who are the Americans saying that there's no hope of finding a job. But I'm getting triggered. Here's why. Because the more they start talking, the more you start to hear their mindset. And honestly, what it really comes down to, I don't even think they want to work. And I really just think they want to be full-time content creators. And it's showing. So it's like, how can I really take your side when it's so painstakingly clear that you don't even want it? That's like the first thing you need if you want to accomplish anything. You need a desire. And it really doesn't seem like they have the desire to work. And I feel like that's going to trickle into their behaviors and maybe even their performance when they actually do an interview. And so it's like I can't even give them slack. I'm hoping we'll get some more examples where I can hear some people who are like actually professional, who is actually clear that they're just affected by the state of the world right now. But all these people we've been reviewing, I feel like they probably have been sabotaging themselves, honestly, because they just don't seem like they want it like that. I'm not saying you gotta like want to do anything for a job, but they really seem like they just want to be content creators and like they just want all their qualifications to speak for themselves, and then they don't want to have to do anything. They just want you to roll out the red carpet and give them a job and thank them.
10 months. Do you know how that feels? Do you know what that is? Like, when you are that broke, you are in a constant state of crash outs because any small charge, anything that comes your way, inconvenience that you have to pay for, like, flips your whole world upside down. Like, one morning I remember I checked my bank account, I got $4 in there. That was like $3.79, some shit like that. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I am gonna meditate. I'm gonna feel better. I'm gonna, like, I'm bigger than this. Fuck money. Like, I'm gonna feel good. So I finally get myself in a good mood. I open my email and I get a charge, like $10.99 charge for Apple services. And I'm like, like, Apple, you cannot keep getting away with this. Like, you be Apple services here, Apple services there for what? What exactly are those Apple services? And you can't even dispute it. You just have to fucking eat it. So you're gonna overdraft me for some mysterious Apple charge that's a fucking billion-dollar company. Fuck you. And then later that day, I get approached by a homeless person. And he's like, you got change, ma'am? I was like, no, I don't. Sorry. He's like, yeah, you do. I was like, actually, I crashed the fuck out. I was like, actually, you probably have more cash than I do right now. Do you have change? Do you have change for me? oh my God. He was like, no, I don't. And I was like, well, I guess we'll just both go on our way then. And I'm like crying, like, bro.
She's crying.
Everyone should experience this level of poverty. I'm serious. Like, you actually haven't lived until you're beefing with the fucking homeless guy over who has more money. Like, it built so much character. Like, really, I have no regrets.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. The job.
She might be batshit crazy because, and this is what's happening because this is what happens when somebody who never thought that they could be in this situation ends up in this situation. It's really worse for people who have like been entitled or maybe were spoiled growing up because they never even thought that this was a possibility. And now what they find is that in life, it really comes down to your decisions and your actions. And when things were good, a lot of times people were not hedging and saving for a rainy day. And now they find themselves in a situation where they're getting overdraft fees for subscriptions that they bought. She said Apple subscription came out when she only had $4 in her account. And she didn't have visibility over that. And now she got an added fee on top of that because they overdrafted. This is what happens. Somebody who's used to poverty, like you put them back, like they'll still be even killed. But somebody who never thought that could happen, they go crazy like that. She went through about 5 different emotions in a 1-minute clip.
Job market
is fried, gang.
Like, bro, the underemployment rate for college students fresh out of college was 52% last year, bro. That means for every 1 in 2 college students, roughly,
they didn't find a job fresh out of college, bro.
But this also means they went to go find a job at McDonald's, which doesn't utilize their skills. That's underemployment. Gang, this is OD, bro. Like, bro, if I hop out of college, I don't got a job, bro.
I'm not about to be shaking a cup, gang.
I'm not trying to do all that, bro. And, bro, this is why
nepotism is king, gang. Like,
it doesn't matter what you know. It's who you know and who knows you, bro. Like, if you don't know nobody and nobody knows you, you're not getting a job, you're not securing a job. None of that, bro.
You gotta make connections, gang, and that's just that, bro.
And it's also kind of sad that it stooped to
That
that
is
level
not
because
true.
now it's almost like these major corporations aren't looking for like actual regular workers, bro.
They're just looking for slaves, bro. Like, think about it, gang.
That's what it takes is for me to know somebody to then get a job. That's OD, bro.
No.
Okay, so there was a leak that Meta is preparing to cut 20% of their workforce. That's 16,000 people. Do you understand how many people 16,000 people actually is? It's Sedona, Arizona. It's Breckenridge, Colorado. It's St. Augustine, Florida. It's the size of towns with high schools, Friday night football games, farmers markets, fire stations, coffee shops where the barista knows your order and your dog's name. That is not a layoff, okay? That's erasing an entire community population of people.
That is true.
And they call it a business decision. And this isn't just Meta, right? It's Southwest, it's Intel, it's Microsoft, it's Walmart, it's Verizon, it's Amazon, it's UPS, it's Citigroup, one after another, quarter after quarter. And we're supposed to keep absorbing this information like it's normal. It's not normal. And like, what do 16,000 people do when they get that mass email about losing their job? Well, they do what the rest of us have had to do all along. Update the resume, lock back into job boards, start applying. And here's the problem. You have a 1% chance of landing a job from a cold application, okay? Not 10%, not 5%.
That might be true.
1%. That is scratch ticket odds. That's getting struck by lightning odds. That's, you actually have a better chance of getting bit by a shark in your lifetime odds, okay? The 9 to 5 isn't stable. That's a lie we've been told, okay? Corporate jobs are not stable. The thing that was supposed to be a safe bet that controlled our entire existence is the thing that's laying off towns full of people. And I think about this a lot lately, and I have so
That is true. As far as it's a lot of companies laying off in mass. And I can see if it was just one, that would still affect the economy and affect saturation. But it's so many. And it's due to the new technology now. And here's the thing. When you have this many people getting laid off and flooded back into the job market, even if you have a job, it can still put your job at risk because now they can get these other professionals for cheaper. And here's the thing too, because we got to look at it from both sides of the coin. Because a lot of people have retirements, they got 401ks. So companies do these things in order to appease stakeholders and ultimately make sure that their stock price can continue to rise or at least continue to stay stable. So if you got 401ks and that type of thing, it's really good for your retirement. Or if you're just an investor, it's good on that end. But if it's actually affecting you personally, then which is going to affect all of us if we're just real, because it's just such a big impact to have that many people now, in the job market. So ultimately, you just have to be diversified these days. So at least you can reap some of the benefits like an investor, at least, right? Because as a working person, I mean, it's just going to affect you for sure. It's going to affect you for sure. It's going to kind of flatten wages while companies are improving their margins, their profit margins. Inflation's through the roof as usual in these modern times. So it's tough for sure. But I think my main thing is when you get that opportunity, like she said, you have a 1% chance of getting a job from all the things you apply to. So you have to apply a lot. But then when you get the opportunity, you got to make sure that you execute. And that's the main thing I want to focus on. But I don't want to discount that there are absolutely external and economic factors and technological factors that are definitely making it hard for your average working person. And so I don't want to discount that because it's very real and it's happening. And times are uncertain, but we just got to try to navigate through the chaos as best as we can.
Being homeless. I'm unemployed, 41, and I'm single. But this is the first time that I have completely let go of everything. All 5 fingers have been released from the cliff, and I'm kind of doing a trust fall. I leave for New York in the morning. I'll be there for 3 weeks, and I have no idea what's next. I've applied for over 1,000 jobs, and I've had 3 interviews. And if another person tells me to optimize my resume, I might have a stroke. I'm not even worried. I think I pretend to be worried because I don't want someone to think that I'm egotistical or think that I'm naive. I'm not worried. I know something is coming. Don't know what it is, but I'm ready for it. Got my bags packed, literally. Wish me luck or send me a job lead.
Can we just talk?
So I know I'm talking about how AI and automation is making things harder on people. But even as individuals, I think we also have to address the flip side of the coin, which is it can also make things easier if you're leveraging it. Remember, I told you, you want to be like Batman. You want to be using everything on your tool belt. You don't want to let anything go to waste, especially right now. So although it is making things harder, it is also creating opportunities to be able to differentiate yourself and be able to break through the noise and ultimately stand out. So we'll be curious how you all are leveraging it in order to stand out. There are ways, but I think when people, like she said, she gave up and she's just disconnecting completely. She's broken. And ultimately, a lot of people are in a state of stress. And when you're in a state of stress, it's going to be hard to think straight, but you have to. And you can't just give up and then waste all your time when you could still be trying to move the needle forward, because you only need one. So get creative, get into AI. Listen, if you're just now learning about ChatGPT, you're behind. We're on Claude now. All right? Learn it ASAP. If you all want me to do a Claude video, let me know. But yeah, you need to be learning Claude. In this society, you must always be improving. You must always be competing. And it's rough, But I think actually when we come out on the other side, I think it's going to ultimately make stronger people. I think it's going to make us stronger. And you got to always be looking at things for how can it make you stronger? How can it build you up? What can you take away from it? And you can't lose faith. If you got faith, can't lose faith. And you got to just hope that the dots will connect and that there's meaning behind this. And there's actually a reason for you going through this. And you just want to be observant and you want to make sure that you're actually taking away what you may be being shown or given.
Talk about how nothing is hiring. Like when I tell you I've put in at least 200 applications into places in Winter Haven, Arbondale, Haines City, Davenport, Lakeland. Nothing is fucking hiring. I work part-time at Spirit Halloween. I make less than $400 a month. That is not enough to take care of me, my man, my daughter, our day-to-day expenses, like our needs, like that's it, bills, like what? I'm on Indeed, I'm on Snagajob, I'm looking at Facebook, I'm in Facebook fucking job groups, like nothing is hiring. Nothing is hiring. How am
I didn't hear LinkedIn in there. That's where you need to be. You need to be on LinkedIn.
I expected to live if I cannot find a job with some stable fucking income? I called Taco Bell, right? A different one, not the one that I got. Not the one with they put their hands on me. A different one, right?
Put their hands on you.
We're going through applications right now. If we see something we'll call you back. It's Taco Bell. What the fuck do you mean?
Hold on.
I'm so desperate for a job that I've gone back and tried to go to Taco Bell.
Okay.
Someone shoot me. Fucking shoot me.
I always find it interesting to think about how the job market and the application process only continue.
I was trying to see if that was a face tat on her face. I see she got the piercings and a lot of other stuff going on, but she has something right there. I was wondering if that was a face tattoo.
Used to be difficult because real people like you and me that have fallen into the roles of recruiters and hiring managers have been conditioned to believe that it should be. Because the only barrier between a qualified candidate and an actual job that's available is the hiring committee in between, who's been brainwashed to think that the interviewee has to have an absolute life devotion to the role and the company in which they're applying for. Why do you want this job? Why do you want to work for this company? Those questions don't need to exist because on a very basic level of human understanding, we should all know that the only reason that anybody is working a job at the end of the day is because that is the system in which society has been set up for us to be able to provide for ourselves. So we know that there's jobs available and we know that there's qualified people, but there's all of this bullshit in the middle because everybody is conditioned to believe that everybody who works for any company and applies for any job needs to make it their life goal to want to do that task. And just because I don't have an absolute devotion to work for your company I've never heard of doing mediocre tasks doesn't mean that I wouldn't be good at them. But this ridicule ritual of why do you want to work here and why have you always dreamed of doing these mind-numbing tasks for a living just doesn't make sense to anyone, the interviewee or the interviewer. We're all people. Why can't we just understand that this is the game that we've unfortunately all been introduced into and we're all just trying to survive? If we stopped being compliant with, well, this is the way that an interview should be and this is how people need to interview and it's all a game and they're playing a game and you need to play a game back. If we just cut all of that out and said, I'm going to hire somebody because they want to work for me, we'd probably solve this problem. Oh, the job market's at an all-time low. Why? Why is the job market at an all-time low? Everybody's understaffed. Oh, the position's been open for a year and we can't find the right people. Why? Because they didn't interview right? Because they couldn't answer your question as to why they've always dreamed of being an administrative assistant? Come on, people. Let's be so fucking for real.
If I was
And I think moving forward, that's going to be hogwash. And here's what I mean. I think moving forward, companies are going to act like they're understaffed and nobody wants to work and we can't find the right candidate. But I think deep down when they're actually like behind the curtain and they're having their meetings, that's going to be absolutely strategic because I think the idea is to adopt less people and more technology. I think that's the idea moving forward. So if the gaslighting was already bad, it's only going to get worse because they're going to be looking in your face like they really want to hire somebody and they're going to be posting the jobs. But like you said, if you're not going to grovel and do everything for the job, then I think they just have more options now. And I think they prefer to just say, okay, well, we can save some money over here and just have technology do it. And then we don't have to worry about the other liabilities, other problems. Like, I think that's ultimately the thing. I think that jobs have kind of lost that human sense, and it's only become, or corporations, and it's only become really focused on the green, on profit, and maybe stakeholders. But aside from like a human view, that's where the most competition is because they're also competing with other companies within their sector. And what one person isn't willing to do, the other one will. And then that ultimately forces the other company to have to maybe even adopt the same type of strategies just in order to compete so that they don't give their competitors an unfair edge. It's just a wild, wild west. And I don't think that's good for society, and it's dangerous, honestly, because, I think there are a segment of people who aren't giving it all they got and aren't being prepared and taking initiative. But I think there's also another large segment of people who are, but it's just things are just so oversaturated. And that's dangerous again, because if people aren't able to take care of themselves and take care of their families, then, you face a lot of potential problems, where people could come together and say that they've had enough ultimately. But that's enough for this video, y'all. If you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype. Hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically, when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button and it shows the points. And since I'm a smaller content creator, we actually get more points per hype. And then also Patreon's link below if you want to see self-improvement content as well. But until then, I'll catch you in the next video.